Good morning, guys, or good afternoon, whether you're joining me from the present or the future. Welcome back to another FutureFight Vanguard video. Today we are continuing on with our V-BT04 set, the Vilus Deleter set. And we're going to be talking about Pale Moon, the Pale Moon Circus, the true Accel deck, as I call it, out of this set. Yeah, so out of this set, so it finishes your opponent really fast. Focuses on, instead of building the soul like the old version of Pale Moon does, it kind of just like focuses on getting everything out of the soul as fast as possible so that you can end the game with end stage or end of stage, which is what the card is called. But we'll get right into the deck. But before we do, be sure to subscribe down below, check out the rest of the videos, and go vote on the most recent community post in the community tab on the channel. Helps let me know what you guys would like to see more of, so it's very, very important going forward with the future of the channel. And then be sure to subscribe, check out my second channel, Let's Plays Animes. If you guys are interested in anime, manga, and video games, definitely be sure to give that a look, and be sure to check out our sponsor as well. This video is sponsored by Dabbers Cards and Games, located in Georgia, a local card shop that offers everything from anime merchandise to video game tournaments and card game tournaments, anime sleeves, all that good stuff, dice, book bags, Pokeballs, you name it. So they have it all, so definitely be sure to give Dabbers a swing by, and the people that work there are really, really nice too. I've never had a problem with them at all, so definitely be sure to check them out. And if you don't live in Georgia and you can't check them out on site, be sure to check them their TCG Players site out down below in the description as well, so that you guys can buy some cards from them at competitive prices. However, let's get right into the video. So like I said, today we're going to be talking about V-BT04 Pale Moon, so let's get right into it. So long-ish name. So this is our new grade 3 finisher. It used to be that we would prefer to be on Golden Beast Tamer and just kind of stay on Beast Tamer for the rest of the game. But now the card that we want to end the game on is Gun Salute Dragon End of Stage. And I guess I'll start off this kind of deck profile half of the video by saying that the Shadow Paladin and the Pale Moon decks in this set, they were completely swapped for me as far as like opinion versus like what I thought after actually having played them. So Shadow Paladin I thought was going to be really, really solid, really good, like really fun to play, etc. And then it turned out to be like very clunky in my opinion and not that great in my opinion. And then like Pale Moon is the exact opposite. Like I had a bunch of people telling me that Pale Moon wasn't good, that End of Stage wasn't good, and I came into playtesting this set without reading any of the skills because I don't really read reveals anymore. I just go straight into my, FutureFight. Helps me like, sit down, read all the cards in one go, and then build the decks. So I don't really do reveals anymore. So a lot of people were telling me, oh, End of Stage is bad, blah, blah, blah. I knew that it was a restander, but I didn't know exactly how the whole deck functioned. And now that I do, like, I think the deck is pretty solid. I think that's really, really good as long as your opponent doesn't check like 2 damage triggers. If they check 1, you can still kind of do shenanigans, but if they check 2, it does get really rough. So yeah, let's get right into the deck build. So End of Stage has 2 Vanguard abilities. So the first ability is when it's on the Vanguard circle once per turn. At the end of the battle that it attacked, if your soul has no cards, you can put 2 cards from your hand and all of your rear guards into your soul and stand this unit. And then the secondary ability is when it's placed by riding from a grade 3, you soul blast all the cards from your soul, and then it gets 5k, and your opponent cannot call sentinels from his or her hand during the battle that this unit attacked, which means this unit gets power so that it changes the guard stage, so it hits force, and then it hits a magic number for Accel and Protect clans, and then no sentinels can be played. So that really, really hurts Protect, even more so than you already are hurting Protect being an Accel clan. But yeah, it's just really, really good. Also, we run 8 crit in this deck, so when it makes sure that when you attack with all your rear guards and then you go for the Vanguard attack, it makes sure that you're basically it ensures that you're able to just stack everything on Vanguard, and then when they restand, you're actually getting full value out of the triggers that you check, because your opponent can't guard with PGs or Sentinels or things that perfect block the Vanguard, so they have to give you actual guard, and that can really hurt your opponent depending on like what their hand is already. You should have already kind of whittled down their hand with all the rear guard attacks, plus the previous turns of you being the Accel clan, so I think it works out pretty well. But you guys will see in the games I played what happened as well. So then we have 4 Golden Beast Tamer. Golden Beast Tamer is probably our ideal first ride. So Golden Beast Tamer allows you to basically flush out your soul so that you're preparing well for end of stage to drop on the field. Versus the old build where I feel like you just try to leave as much things as possible in soul. This build is like every unit is trying to like run for safety. Like that's what I imagine when I'm playing this deck, is like basically everything in the soul is trying to get out as soon as possible so that they don't have to be soul blasted by end of stage. So Golden Beast Tamer's 2 Vanguard abilities is it first has a Vanguard ability that says if you have 5 or more units out during your turn, then all your units in the front row get plus 3,000 power. So you usually want to have like 3 units out on the board before you attack with it, because when you attack with it, you get to put a card into the soul and counterblast 1 and call out 2 more cards, and then you'll have a total of 5. Or sorry, you can actually have 2 cards out on the board and then call 2 more, and then you'll have 5 because it says unit, so it includes Vanguard. So very important to note. Moving on, we have Nightmare Doll Alice at 1. This card used to be at 4 in the deck, but it's at 1 now, just because we don't really have as much use for it anymore. The one thing that I can say about Alice that's really good is if you happen to have to go into end of stage first, because of Alice, you can actually have 0 soul at a point, but you basically wouldn't be calling anything, I think, or actually, yeah, never mind. You can't have 0 soul with Alice. I was thinking about another combo that you can do. Basically, you would have to get to 0 soul using like Dancing Princess of Night Sky, or like Jumping Joe with Trapezist or something like that on the first ride. But basically, Alice is just in there for an extra attack on that end of stage turn. You can attack, shove it to soul, call something else. You can even like keep your purple Trapezist really safe within your soul where your opponent can't touch them, and then you can Alice into purple Trapezist, and then when end of stage shoves everything to soul, you want to have as many purple Trapezists as you can on the rear guard circle, because then you'll get to soul blast out the purple Trapezist so that you can call out rear guards, so that you don't have a completely empty board after that. So then you end up getting something like 8 attacks with the restand as well. Then we have, going into our grade 2s, we have 4 Dancing Princess of the Night Sky. This is another one of the new cards. You guys see them legs. Anyways, it has a Vanguard rearguard ability that says when placed from hand, counterblast 1 and soul blast 1, and then you can call a card from your soul to rearguard. So I like this first skill, and I don't like it at the same time. I like it because it does allow you to get an extra card out from your soul on the board. I don't like that it's soul blast, because sometimes it puts you in an awkward position where if you only have like 1 soul or something, you can't call out. So I prefer that it was just like counterblast, call a card out of your soul, but I guess maybe that would be too good, I'm not sure. However, the soul blast does help you when you're like at high amounts of soul, like 2 or 3 or even 4 cards on the soul. It really helps you get those cards out quickly, or at least makes the most value out of them so that they're not wasted by end of stage. Then its rearguard ability is pretty simple. When placed from the soul onto rearguard circle, it gets 3,000 power until the end of the turn. I wish it got 4,000 so that it could hit force by itself, but you know, all Accel clans pretty much have this, so what can you do? Moving on to Jumping Jill, we have 4 Jumping Jill. Jumping Jill skill is when it's on the rearguard circle, when it's placed from soul. Then you get to put one of your rearguards into the soul and call another card other than grade 2 from your soul to the rearguard circle in the back row. So a little combo that I like to do is attacking with all my rearguards first, since we run crits, and then you can attack with Golden Beast Tamer and shove a Jill into soul, or shove whatever pieces you need into soul, and then you can call a jumping Jill on a regular rearguard circle, and then you can call Trapezist on an Accel circle, which doesn't really matter. But then you're going to use Jumping Jill to put Purple Trapezist in the soul, get a booster for Jill, and then Soul Blast out Purple Trapezist to call out something else to attack with as well. So that can really like lead up to your opponent being really in the hole as far as damage when you hit end of stage. You want them to already be like 4 or 5 damage with like as least cards in their hand as possible. So you really want to be able to force that early. Then we have 4 Misdirection. It has a Vanguard Rearguard ability that says when it's placed from hand, counterboss 1 and put a grade 1 or less rearguard into your soul. You draw 2 cards, and then you can put a card from your hand into your soul. So that's very good. Allows you to kind of like dig through your deck fast, get the pieces that you need, etc. Then we have 4 Grassy Bunny getting into our grade 1s. Grassy Bunny is a new card from the set. It has a Vanguard Rearguard ability that says when it's placed from hand, you can discard a card, draw a card, and if your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, Soul Charge 2. So before your grade 3, this is pretty much just a filter, and then after your grade 3, you can use it to Soul Charge as well. Then we have 4 Midnight Bunny, a staple that's been in the deck ever since the V series started. So it has 2 Rearguard abilities. The first one is when it boosts, you can use Soul Charge 1 mandatorily. So that ends up being really good. Except when you're like on a turn where you're setting up heavily for end of stage, you really want to be careful of what's in your soul and stuff like that. So then its secondary ability is when an attack that it boosted hits, you can counterboss 1, put this unit into your soul, and call a non-grade 1 from your soul to rearguard circle. So that's very good as well. Allows you an extra attack if the boosted attack hits. Then we have 4 Purple Trapezist. Purple Trapezist is our main playmaker for the deck, pretty much. Like helps you multi-attack in the battle phase, and also helps you with end of stage. That makes it like not Terror bad, basically. And when this card is put into soul from rearguard, you Soul Blast 1 Purple Trapezist, and you can pay for the cost with itself, and then you can call a card from soul to rearguard. So basically, you can have 3 Purple Trapezist. Like, I'll lay them out here so that you guys can see. So basically, let's say that you're on Golden Beast Tamer, and then you ride end of stage, right? So you ride end of stage, you get an Accel circle, and then you swing with all your rearguards, boom, boom, because by the time you're riding this second end of stage, you should be having 2 Accel circles. So you just fill up everything as much as you can, because you're just trying to go into your opponent, and then you attack 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you attack with the end of stage for 5, and then at the end of the battle, all of these go to soul, and all of your rearguards too. So I assume you had rearguards that had like good attack numbers, like Dancing Princess of Night Sky or anything like that. So basically, what would happen is all of the Purple Trapezes would activate Soul Blast from their own skills, and then you would call 3 units, 2 to the Accel circle, and probably 1 Dancing Princess of Night Sky to the rearguard, because it can become 12k. So very good to look out for as well. Also something to keep in mind is that you can actually call out Trapezist from your soul using Trapezist. So you can like do end of stage, call a Trapezist with 1 of your Trapezists, but then call a Jumping Jill, giving yourself a booster, and Soul Blast another Trapezist for another card. So you can actually get 4 cards on your board, which is really cool. So you can make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 attacks, it looks like. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 attacks, sorry. So yeah, 9 attacks in standard is really good. Really hard for your opponent to block. I don't even think any clan can block that at 5 damage. It's going to be really hard for them to live that, especially with the fact that they can't no guard end of stage, really, because you will probably always check a crit because we run 8. But also, if they're at 5, they can't no guard, no end of stage without dying. So basically, they have to guard it, and then guarding it is hard because they can't PG it or anything like that. It is relatively easier if you're playing a Force Clan, but if you're playing Accel and Protect, like, you might just be screwed there. Then for our grade 0s, we run 1 Entertain Messenger. This is our draw starter, pretty basic. Then we have Dynamite Juggler and Poison Juggler for our crit triggers. Hades Hypnotist as our Sentinel trigger, our draw, and our Candy Clown as our heal. So that has been the deck profile portion of the FutureFight. Moving right into the games portion of the FutureFight. Opening back up our Cardfight area here. So we're going to load Pale Moon 1. Alright, so game 1 we're playing against Murakumo. Unfortunately, I don't have a grade 1, so I pass turn to my opponent. My opponent also doesn't have a grade 1, so he G-assists and he actually whiffs. So I guard, and then I actually top deck a grade 1 because I guarded, so that was good. My opponent goes back to his turn, and he still doesn't have a grade 1, so he had to G-assist. We get Dancing Princess of Night Sky. We're just going in a little bit. He goes in on us really hard with a good rush, and we're able to heal on the very last one, which is really good. We do ride into Golden Beast Tamer using the skill of Misdirection, and then we use Golden Beast Tamer skill to call it out. And then we call out a bunch of rear guards using Purple Trapezes. We get a crit trigger. Our opponent gets a front. Unfortunately, Dancing Princess can't hit, but we're able to attack with our other rear guards. We 2-to-pass his Vanguard when he rides into Mandala Lord. And then we ride end of stage, getting our second Accel marker. We Soul Blast everything out. And then we call Jill using the skill we're setting up. So you guys see how he's guarding with everything, and he no guards Vanguard because he has 3 threes in his hand and a heal trigger. So the best that he could do was guard with the heal trigger for 2-to-pass. And then if I would have restood with 27 with the crit, there's no way that he could have guarded that. That's why I think that he just guarded the first one. But yeah, as you guys can see, we did check a crit there, so our opponent just died. And I think that it's pretty unlikely. Sorry guys, I think it's pretty unlikely that you're not going to check a crit running 8 and with 4 drive checks. I mean, the possibility is there, don't get me wrong, but I definitely think that after you kind of dig and you haven't seen that many crits yet, like, you definitely will check a crit. But we're playing against one of the new Bermuda decks, one of the Melody focused decks right now. Our opponent basically let us know that he's proxying the PG draws because they're not out on area yet, which I was like, I guess is fine. So we actually take a damage from our opponent's rear guard, and then we're able to, because we're 19 or because we were 18, get around our opponent's attack, Vanguard attack, because he didn't check a trigger. However, he did get into Serena, and Serena is really, really pesky as a card, like allows them to draw cards when they're at 4 or under. So then he attacks with his Vanguard. He does get a crit, and we ride into Golden Beast Tamer using the skill. We get Alice out, and then we call a Purple Trapezist. So we use Purple Trapezist skill to kind of Soul Blast, get one out. We do get Jumping Jill, use Jill's skill, and we do get a crit, giving the crit all to Alice, and then our opponent does guard it. So our opponent uses the Melody skill. We do 2-to-pass him because we wanted to just go into end of stage the next turn. So we guarded 41, and then he attacked our rear guard, which is completely fine with us. Like, sure, we have less rear guards now, but ultimately it's fine. We attacked him for 22. He did not hit a damage trigger, which is really good. Then we use end of stage, shove everything in, and get Purple Trapezist, and he actually 1-to-passes us, and we checked 4 no triggers. But if we had checked at least 1 trigger in any of those, then our opponent actually would have just died, which just really sucks for us, honestly. Our opponent attacks us for 28. We take it. hoping to get, we wanted to pass the Vanguard, hoping that he wouldn't check any triggers and that we could heal the last one. And then I would have been able to do end of stage a second time. Unfortunately, we did not get the 6 damage heal that we were looking for. And unfortunately, he did pass our one to pass as well. So like a 6 damage heal probably wouldn't have helped us all that much in that situation since he checked a trigger. Moving on to Pale Moon Game 3. We're playing against Narukami this time. Our opponent goes first and rides. We ride, we attack, get a heal. He rides, we block it. We G-assist for a grade 2, which is unfortunate, but we do get rid of 2 grade 1s. Then we attack Vanguard, we get a crit. And our opponent rode drill right here, but he chose not to use the skill, and I don't really know why. However, we were forced to ride end of stage first, which is kind of unfortunate. But you do what you got to do. I thought that I could restand. That would have been super swole, especially since I checked double trigger. But our opponent does heal down. And then we ride end of stage. We check a crit. Like, our opponent no guards the Vanguard. And you guys can see what I mean. Like, once you check a crit, you basically, your opponent is going to try to no guard end of stage at some point, I feel like, either the first attack or the second attack. And as long as you check crits, like, it is a huge detriment to your opponent. Because you guys can see he had 2 grade 3s in his hand there. He had a grade 1 and 2 heals. Like, if he would have dropped the 2 heals to try to 2 to pass me or no pass me, then I just would have restood with, you know, 3 crit and swung at him again. So not really anything that could be helped on our opponent's half there. But that was the last match. So that has been the FutureFight Vanguard video for V-BT04 Pale Moon. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a thumbs up on the video. It really helps a lot more than you guys think and helps the channel continue forward into greatness. Be sure to comment down below letting me know what you thought of the deck build and what you think of the deck, and are you going to play this deck when the set comes out? Are you not going to play it? Why not? Give me your thoughts below. Also, like I said earlier in the video, be sure to go to the community tab on my channel and vote in the last post that I just made in the poll. I would really appreciate that from you guys. As always, be sure to subscribe. If you're interested in anime, manga, and gaming, check out my second channel down below, and check out our sponsors, Dabbers, down below in the description as well. But with that being said, this has been Josh from Cardfight Empire, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace, guys.